This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Good morning, Gamehounds fans. It is Wednesday, and that means we are the Gamehounds. Gamehounds episode 250. We are recording on Wednesday, February 12th, 2014. I'm Edie Sellers, and with me is Nick DiNicola, and once again, no Holy Goalie.
Which is too bad.
Yeah.
Where is he? What's going on?
Nick, obviously that's the voice in the other room. Oh, and I got a text last night that Goalie has, what's that thing in your throat?
Laryngitis.
Laryngitis. So, Goalie's out for the count, which sucks. So he might join us for a little while on Happy Endings, but apparently he can't talk at all. And of course here, now I'm starting to get a frog in my voice. Yeah, he can't talk at all. He's got horrible sickness running through his house. His wife came down with a flu, and then she got better, and then she started going back to work, and then she got sick again, and they went to the hospital and did x-rays. Turns out she has pneumonia, and now Goalie has laryngitis. So they are just a big den of plague at the moment. So that kind of sucks. Poor guy. Hope you get better, Goalie.
Yeah.
So it's just me and Nick again. Just the heavy hitters.
But you know what? That seems okay. Because you could just sit back and watch some of the tons and tons of Olympics.
Ooh. Have you watched any?
I've watched a ton.
Yeah.
I love the Olympics.
I
always get into it.
I've been forced to watch this year's Olympics because my mom and dad are really, really into Olympics. And, of course, I'm over there all the time. But, honestly, I'm more, what should I say, entertained by all the crap that's happening outside of the Olympics. Like people getting locked in elevators and locked in their rooms, their bathrooms, and having, like, the bobsledder guy had to break out of his bathroom and bust a hole in his door because his bathroom door locked on him and wouldn't unlock, and he was locked in the bathroom. And then, like 2 days later, he gets locked in an elevator, and just, I'm more interested in all of those stories. But honestly, I really love the fact that there's all this kind of, I don't want to say, like, subversive political statements that are going on by corporations about Russia in their advertising.
Really? What's the subversion? I haven't heard of that. I heard most of them just didn't do anything.
Google put up essentially the rainbow flag, but in each of the stripes of the rainbow flag, they had it was on the day of the opening ceremonies to celebrate the Olympics. Each of the flags had a different Winter Olympic sport attached to it. And a quote on it about, and it was somebody famous, and I can't remember who it was, saying that the whole point of Olympics is that no sport should be, no sport, no rights should be denied to anyone. It's all about fair play and being fair and being honest and being in equal rights, essentially. Then there was another one that came out, and I can't remember. There's a video from the Institute of Diversity in Canada that's about bobsledding, and it's actually pretty funny if you haven't looked it up. It's essentially it's Lugers, I think it was, and essentially the tagline on it is the Olympics have always been a little bit gay. Let's help keep it that way.
Huh.
And it's essentially the lugers kind of pushing back and forth. You know, when they start out the luge, they have to push back and forth to get it going. They have it some disco song behind it. I can't remember what it is.
I could see that being a GIF.
Yeah, it's really pretty funny. So there's a lot of little just nobody's coming out and saying anything, but there's a lot of little like tweaks at Russia about their stance on gay marriage. Well, not even gay marriage, on people being allowed to be gay in their country.
Mm. Yeah, that's all. I find all that mildly amusing, but
Yeah.
you know, amusing in like a tweet.
Yeah, yeah. And
I enjoy watching the sports that never get televised any other time of the year.
like what? Like curling?
Yeah, like curling.
Freaking curling's
snowboarding,
awesome.
skiing.
I
It is. I was up till 4 a.m.
No.
watching a curling game.
No.
Yeah. It was
That's-
US versus Denmark, and US had lost 2 games in a row. And they finally won one. So
I wouldn't mind being on the curling team. It sounds awesome. It's one of I've watched curling since I was a kid. In fact, I actually have a curling trophy.
oh cool.
Somebody gave me a curling trophy at Burning Man one year, and I'm very attached to that curling trophy.
They just gave you a curling trophy?
Yeah, they're like, here, have a curling trophy.
It's not like you played it. Just, hey, have a curling trophy. Okay.
Yeah, they had a bunch of like crap that they bought and they thought was cool, and they were giving it away, and they're like, here, have a curling trophy. I'm like, that's awesome. But the only problem with the curling trophy is the curling in general is the whole time I've got Jonathan Colton's song "Curl" in my head. Have you heard it before?
No.
Oh, Nick, I'm so disappointed in you. It's a great song. Somewhere in the darkness, the man they call the skipper, fast asleep, thinking of gold. It's a song, sort of sounds, I guess, a little Beach Boy-ish, but it's essentially about curling. It's just a song about curling, and I'm really surprised that it hasn't hit Olympic air because it's a good song, and it's a serious song. It's glorifying curling the way that you might glorify surfing.
Well, maybe in the curling culture, it's more popular.
No, within the
I've
nerd
actually
culture, it's
only
popular.
heard of like a few Jonathan Colton songs.
I'll send you some curl. I'll send you curl, so you can hear at least a snippet of it. But yeah, curling's great. Biathlon, another one of my favorites. I don't know why people think it's so weird. It's not that weird.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of freaking sense. If you live in a snowy country and you're in the army, you should learn how to cross-country ski and then snipe people. That's like the ultimate ninja. Snow ninjas. That's what they are. The fact that they have
curling
to...
doesn't involve sniping, though.
What?
Curling doesn't involve...
No, biathlon.
Okay.
Yeah, biathletes are snow ninjas. They run, then they get down on their bellies, and they will their heart rate to slow down so that they can snipe a target, and then run. Well, not run. I guess it would be what ski. Cross country skiing is essentially running on snow anyway.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How could you not love this? But people are like, I don't understand how this happened. Come on. If you lived in the snow and you needed a ninja, that's what you would do.
Snow Ninja.
Mm-hmm. They really should just change the name from biathlon to Snow Ninja. It would like triple the attendance.
I could totally see that happening. Yeah.
Yep.
The Olympics just start renaming events. Try to get it like
curling
SEO.
would be sweeping and screaming.
Huh.
Yeah, Snow Ninja. Ice skating would be, I don't know. He just might drop her.
Look how far he can throw her.
Look how far you can throw a girl.
It's what's the is it shot put in the Summer Olympics where they throw the ball?
Yes. Well, there's two. There's shot put and then there's a hammer. Shot put
so
is just the ball.
Like girl shot put?
Yeah. What would you call girl shot put?
That would be like figure skating, you know? How far can you throw this girl?
You know, I used to be a shot putter.
Really?
I did. I was a shot putter in high school. Shot putter and discus. I was terrible at both. But that's what I did. Oh, God damn it. What the hell? I'm going to let my husband take it. All right, so speaking of games, what games have you been playing? I've actually played quite a few. A couple this week.
I've played a lot of iPhone games since I've been watching Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
I bought Infinity Blade. And got into that some. And that's a cool game, but I don't know if it's made for iPhones. I think that game is meant to be played on the iPad.
Uh-huh.
Because sometimes when I push the button to dodge, it doesn't seem to register. Like the hitbox for the dodge buttons is just a little bit too small on the phone. So it's like constantly I'm putting my finger down thinking, yeah, I'm totally going to dodge this. And then I get attacked and it's kind of frustrating. But other than that, it's a cool game. A couple other puzzle games, one called Threes, which is kind of this sliding block puzzle game where you want to combine number tiles into like higher numbers.
Uh-huh.
And really, really fun and addictive. And then this other puzzle game called Kami, which is kind of like this paper folding puzzle game.
Kami? Commie?
No, Kami.
Ah, bummer. I love the idea that you were watching a Russian Olympics and playing Kami. You should watch the Russian Olympics and play Papers, Please.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I did also hear there was a mod for Civilization 5 where you could take control of that totalitarian government from Papers, Please.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Anyway, so.
Yeah, Kami's kind of cool. It's like on the screen, you'll basically have this pattern of colors. And if you tap on that color, then all the tiles touching it will change to a color you select. So, you know, the very first level, like blue and red. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you can pick blue or red from the bottom. If you pick blue and you tap on the red half of the screen, all the red turns blue, and then the whole screen is blue, and you win.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gets progressively trickier than that. Has the tiles kind of they're set up in such a way so that you have like this little tiny outlier, so that you might hit a huge section and turn all but one square the same color, and you're like, damn, how can I get that one square to turn the color I need it to? Really good game. I was surprised at how much fun it was. But then I spent most of my time playing and beating Killzone Shadowfall.
You did?
Yes.
And, okay, so the fact that you played it and you beat it tells me that you liked it more than Goalie and I did, apparently.
I liked playing it. Like, I really liked the controls, and I liked kind of just how it felt in shooting.
I might have to go back to it because I really hated the controls. Really hated the controls. So anyway.
But yeah, Goalie was right.
What?
About that game.
What part of what Goalie said was right?
That level design is highly confusing throughout the game.
Oh.
And I think what it is that Killzone doesn't want to be it doesn't want to be considered a Call of Duty clone in that, you know, oh, you have these super linear hallways guiding you from one spectacle to another. It doesn't want to be that super linear shooter. It kind of wants to be a little bit more open than that, like it wants to differentiate itself. But it doesn't quite understand how to populate the world with interesting things to do. And it doesn't quite figure out how to guide the player through that world. So instead of creating a level with branching paths where you might tempt the player to go off the main path by offering you something interesting to see or do, it just kind of blocks your main path and forces you to take a more route through the level. So it's kind of forced exploration of an area that doesn't have a whole bunch of interesting things to see in it. But what's really confusing is that a lot of that forced exploration forces you to backtrack, which is just not something you actually think to do in these games. And I think of the very first area of kind of the game proper, because the first level you start playing as this kid,
right?
And it's pretty linear, it's easy to get to the end of that. But then when you get to the actual game, you start in like this kind of vent, and you follow this vent down. You kind of down, sneak around a little bit more, drop down, sneak around a little bit more, drop down into this room. And the guy on your headset says like, okay, now find, this stash of weapons. And you kind of look around the room. I'm like, okay, I'm looking around. There's no weapons here. Okay. I'm like, oh, well, where's the door? I'm going to get out of here. And there's no door. And I just kind of paused. I'm like, okay, I came down from the roof, and there's no objective here. There's no door here. It's just this room. And I went, I did the old shooter thing where I moved along the wall, mashing the interact button, thinking, am I just missing something here? What is going on? There's nothing in this room. And eventually I realized that there's another scaffolding on the wall, and you have to walk up to it and hit X to kind of climb out. And it's just really unintuitive because you fall into this room from above, and then you have to climb out of that room. And it's like, wait a minute, didn't I come from this way? And I thought about that. After I climbed up, I kind of thought, didn't I come from this way? And as I moved a little bit more, I thought, oh no, I didn't come from this way. I'm backtracking in a slightly different direction. And then,
that's so annoying. I remember, I know exactly what you're talking about. I played through to that part. In fact, just past it when I got my first robot. I guess they were robots, the little drone things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it got more interesting when I got the drone, but still it was like, there's just no way to know where you're going. It's like when
There's another bad part later on where, after you get that drone, one of the things it can do is shoot a zip line.
Right.
So you're kind of on these rocks, and you shoot a zip line across a river, and you slide down to that river. And you stuff there, and then you get the objective okay, you get two objectives. One of them is on this lowered area, but your other objective is back up on top of the area that you ziplined from. And I thought, wait a minute, couldn't you have given me that objective when I was up there?
Right.
And I spent a while running along the bank of the river, looking at this rock wall, trying to figure out, okay, how do I climb up it? And eventually I found a path on the other side of a river that kind of led me, again, in a circular backtracking way up to the objective. And it's just confusing.
Yeah, I can see that. And yeah, I had a number. Well, I think I ended just right after I got that drone and dropped me out of, I want to say outside of a dam or something like that. It was a wooded area.
Yeah.
And it seemed like if they had presented to me enemies that I was in point A and I needed to get to point B, and there were enemies between those 2 points, it made sense to me. But it seemed like I was running around not really knowing where I needed to go, and the enemies were coming from all directions. So even though it would be
the other thing.
objective, there's no telling what's going to happen to you. You can't ever really get safe. And I don't know if that's a feature or if that is a detractor, but I hated it.
That's another thing, is that it seems there's areas, especially near the end, where enemies kind of have this tendency to circle behind you, and that's really annoying in a shooter because your field of view is so narrow.
Right. Yeah, that somebody's like, ooh, that would be a really good thing. Yeah, if I had 360-degree viewing, or if at least, I could see like a normal person could see with peripheral vision, but you can't even see with that. You can't really hamper anybody and then make the AI work like real life. So, yeah. Well, so your overall thoughts, thumbs up, thumbs down?
What drove me through the game is that I had to see how the story ended because it was just so dumb. I was intrigued. Like, I was so drawn to it. I was fascinated by just how dumb it was.
Okay, well, also, that was another one of those ones. I did not feel compelled by the story, and it seemed pretty thin. All right, so, yes, and?
So what's fascinatingly awful about this story is that it really feels as if it's being made up as it goes along, because it kind of constantly forgets plot points that it established. Like, it has an interesting premise, okay? So you've got these two planets at war with each other. One of them is blown up, and the guys that blew the planet are like, shit, we went too far. We will give you half of our planet as reparations. So, the refugees from the destroyed planet from Helgen come and essentially colonize the planet Vector as refugees. But since they're taking over half the planet is being evicted and relocated. And I kind of like that idea of making these refugees also invaders. That sets up a lot of interesting conflicts.
Right.
But then when the game, as a kid, you're sneaking through the wreckage of a city. But the wreckage of the city is on the Vector, which was not destroyed, which is not where the war took place. So I'm not sure why the city's destroyed.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute.
Well, did you, when you were all kicked out, did you just destroy it on the way out or what?
Yeah. It's like,
Are you really those big of dicks?
Yeah. It's like, there's something going on here. But not only that, you and your dad are trying to sneak to the wall that separates these two halves of the planet because apparently the Helgen refugees have established a very powerful military presence and are killing civilians on sight.
Right.
And it's like, wait a minute. What? Refugees who've been given half the planet as a reparation are executing the civilians that are trying to relocate. What I thought, what is going on here? And then you meet like a shadow marshal, which is kind of a soldier, Marine of the Vector army. And your father that you're following asks him, like, what is going on here? They're killing people. And the soldier's like, yeah, I don't like it either, but that's just the way it is. It's like, what the fuck? What is going on in this world? Like, okay, the Vector government hates these people enough to blow up their planet and then doesn't strike back when the civilians are getting killed on their own soil?
Right.
What is wrong with these people? And that's just in like the first 10 minutes.
Right. Right.
And it continues from there where it's like, these Helgen people complain about being oppressed. And it's like, wait a minute, you got half the planet to yourself. How are you being oppressed?
Yeah, from what I can see, you're not very, you not only got half the planet, you executed anybody you caught on your side of the planet,
exactly.
Of the people who gave you their homes.
If you're going to be oppressed, you kind of asked for it. And then they talk about sanctions, and I think, wait, you have half the planet. What kind of sanctions could reduce half the planet to economic squalor? You have half the goddamn planet. You're not a little tiny city. You're not the underdog. And then, I guess, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It's okay. Spoiler for Killzone Shadowfall. You know how the Helgen planet was destroyed in the intro?
Yeah.
Not destroyed. turns out it's actually still kind of intact, and some Helgen guy is creating a massive army on planet Helgen, which is not destroyed. So where he got the resources to build this army on a planet racked by violent earthquakes, I don't know. But also, I'm curious where he got the manpower.
Didn't they take all the Helgens off of it and put them on the other half of that planet?
Exactly. Didn't all the refugees come over to our planet? Where are you getting the people for your literal massive army? You see it. There are like multiple Death Star-sized cruisers. It's like, where do these people come from? And then, like, you spend a lot of the game chasing after this bioweapon, which is like, okay, this bioweapon can be targeted to a specific race, the Helgens or the Vectans.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, the Vectans want it because, they can easily kill all of the Helgen in one fell swoop. It's like, okay, that's pretty fucked up, but that's kind of appropriate for this world. The Helgen take it, modify it, and release it. But it's not a bioweapon when they release it. It's like an EMP. And all of the Vectan spaceships fall out of the sky.
What? That's not a bioweapon!
I know. Not only that, but your character, a Vectan soldier, who's kind of caught in the blast of that, because you can see all these ships fall out of the sky around you, you are very much not dying of a genocidal infectious disease. You're fine. Because you go on to kill the main bad guy.
But
and it's like, that's not a bioweapon. You established this as a bioweapon, and when you used it, it wasn't in any way a bioweapon.
It sounds like a story that's kind of made up by like an 8-year-old kid, and then they get a bioweapon, and then all the stuff falls out of this guy, but he's okay. What?
It's like a second draft of a story, It's like they've kind of cleaned up some of the stuff in the first draft, but they haven't connected it all in a logical way. It's like, is this really like the final thing? Did you mean to put this out like this?
Yeah. Did you work off of like a draft, like a second draft out of this? Oh, yeah. God. I'm so glad I didn't play it now, because that would have just made me so mad. Because how I am about story. Story is everything to me. A good story will propel me through a bad game every day of the week. And if you have a bad story on a good game, it will make me stop, because I cannot stand it. And I'm really, really glad that my bullshit detector was going off as loud as it was.
It is kind of worth it to play through, because it's right for like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 ridiculing. And that's the main thing that drove me through it. Like, these shooters are not necessarily well known for their story. I really loved Call of Duty Ghosts because it really felt like Ghosts didn't quite take itself seriously. Like, they were kind of in on the joke.
All right.
And they're like, you know what? We are a spectacle shooter, and we are going to literally craft a story that lets us do the most insane things possible. And it's like, all right, I'm with you, Call of Duty. I am buying what you're selling. We're on the same page here. But Killzone just kind of takes itself way too seriously, tries to be really realistic, and then just, like, it's hilarious how bad the story is, even among, this genre that's not known for the best of stories.
But it's even bad by their own standards.
Oh, yes. It's so bad, it might achieve a greatness in how bad it is.
It's epic bad.
Yes. It's
legendary bad.
It's one of the few games that's actually made me laugh. I guess I could say that.
Really?
Like, a genuine unintentional
You laughed out loud at the story.
Yes. Because it's like, you are clearly making this up as you go along. You really have no idea what's going on, do you? So,
wow.
Yeah. I don't think Shadowfall is a very good game in any way.
I'm so glad I stopped playing it when I did.
I might play some of the multiplayer because, like I said, I do like the controls.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that campaign, There's a show on The Escapist called Unwatchable, like Unwatchable but Unwinnable, where they basically like redub over the cutscene dialogue.
Uh-huh.
And I hope they do something like that with Shadowfall because it seems so perfect.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Okay, good. Anything else? Because I played two games that were the exact opposite of Killzone.
Oh, okay.
The literal polar opposite. I played episode 2 of Walking Dead season 2, or episode 1 Walking Dead season 2, and I played episode 2 of The Wolf Among Us.
Nice. A Telltale binge.
Yeah. And not only that, demonstration, just a benchmark for a great game, like a great Telltale game, is if I can drag Kevin from his room from watching, what was it, American Horror Story Coven, if I can drag him out of the room to watch me play a game, and then if I start playing the next episode without him or playing something, and then he goes, well, you didn't call me in, then if he actually complains that I have gone on without him, that says it's a great game, and he did that twice. He did that both with both of those games. Well, I knew that he wanted to be around for that other one, Walking Dead, because we played Walking Dead together, the whole series, season 1. So Walking Dead season 2, episode 1. Clementine is growing up, and the way that Kevin described it, and I think it was very accurate, is, if you watch Game of Thrones, how Arya is growing up, in that she is starting to become much more a product of the events of her life, and it's changing the person she is. Clementine is nowhere near as bitter and angry as Arya, but you can see that Arya is Clementine is really becoming much more grown up, much more mistrustful of people.
And you know what? I had like a real bizarre experience playing that episode because, like you said, her character is a bit more mistrustful. She's not like was with Lee in the first episode. I always wanted to be the people pleaser,
right?
Because I wanted to set a good example for Clementine, and I wanted to be nice to people,
right?
But with Clementine, I was playing a very different way. Like, I was willing to tell people off and be a dick to people because in my head as a gamer, I was like, it doesn't matter. They're going to die the next episode anyways.
Right. It's starting to make you better, too.
Yeah, and I think that really fits with Clementine. And it was like a weird moment halfway through when I thought, oh my God, like, we have the exact same thought process, me and this character.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really fascinating.
Right. It was really, really fascinating. Episode 1, if you haven't played it, not for the faint of heart. You got to do stuff in there that if you've got any issues with, let's just say, needles or blood, ugh, that was hard. Oh, that was hard. I did not like doing that. I mean, I didn't mind it. But
afterwards, you have the best line in the game.
Yeah. Which one did you choose?
Still not bitten.
I did not choose that one. I chose the... I saw it a second too late.
Like, when she says that in, like, such a fuck you way. It's great. It's like, yeah, Clementine's a badass.
Yeah, I chose the, can I come in now? And it was, like you said, a much more of a fuck you.
Oh, yeah. Like, not only can I come in now, but, yeah, can I come in now?
Yeah.
Now that you see what I can do.
No, it was more of a, can I come in now? More of a, like, listen, you assholes, I've had to sew myself up, and I almost got eaten by a walker. Can I come in now? You dicks. It was a really good, just great voice acting.
Yeah.
All of these games. I don't know if this is a little spoiler, but I'll say tiny spoiler alert. Please fast forward if you don't want to hear any choices that you have. Any choices. Fast forward just like 10 seconds. The woman who you overhear while hiding in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Do you confront her with that information?
I did.
I did too.
Yeah.
And then I was nice about it. I'm like, don't worry, I won't tell anybody.
Oh, I wasn't.
And she was like, fuck you, I'll kill you, you little kid. If you ever tell anybody.
Because that was the thing. I was like, it doesn't matter. You and your baby are gonna die the next episode anyway.
Really? That's what you said?
What do I care what you think of me?
Yeah, I put down, well, you know that's not true. Her trust is going to be very important to you.
Why?
Because they wouldn't be putting that decision in there whether you want to make a friend or not. If you want to make an enemy with her, they wouldn't be making an issue of her being an enemy to you this early in the game if it didn't come into play later.
Yeah, in a way.
Who did you choose at the end? Young or old?
Young.
I chose old. We actually had to stop and put it on pause and discuss that one out. Because Kevin's like, go young. And I'm like, no, I think we should go old. And he's like, but he's bitten. You could see the bite. And I said, that wasn't necessarily a bite. He said he fell.
See, what I like about that scene is it kind of puts you in the same situation that Clem was in.
Right. And it's like, I see blood. That's all I see. I don't know that he's bitten. Do I want to trust that? You know, he did the same for me. He saved my life.
So and I'm really fascinated. I want to know what happens for you in the next episode because I read, for me, by choosing young, it plays out very differently than you choosing old.
Obviously, because we're now separated and I'm with old and you're with young.
But not just that. We're spoiling more of this. If you choose old, the young guy doesn't die.
No.
But if you choose young, the old guy does die.
Yes. In fact, I think that the young does come back because I had on the next episode parts where she said, "Oh my God, you're alive. I thought you were dead."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you had that.
Oh yeah, I had that too.
Okay.
I was on my Pop Matters podcast when we talked about this. We have a bet as to whether that will be Kenny or what's the name of the woman from the intro from the beginning?
Marsha?
No.
It's Omid and Krista.
Krista.
Yeah, you think it's Krista?
I think it's...
I hope it's Krista.
We had a bet as to whether it's Kenny or Krista. I chose Kenny because I think that might be something the game does. Maybe it's just me not having enough faith in Telltale storytellers. I feel like bringing back Kenny, he died off screen, because that's what everyone said.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that might be something they want to do, but I feel like that would be a horrible, horrible decision. And because
they do bring him up. They do bring him up in episode twice. He gets mentioned.
Memory, and I think it would ruin. I think would ruin the drama of the first season if he was suddenly alive now.
Yeah, but one of the things about Walking Dead.
I hope it's Krista.
I hope it's Krista too. But one of the things about Walking Dead is they will bring people back.
Except
this is very much in the ethos of the show, and
that's okay if they live. If you want to bring back that girl who was carrying the car battery in her backpack,
mm-hmm.
That's okay because we went our separate ways. Fine, but Kenny died.
Oh, you know who else it could be? Wow, this would be a throwback. Who was the Walking Dead character? The one Walking Dead character that was in the show that was also in the game at the very beginning, and he took off.
Oh, Glenn?
Glenn.
That would be interesting because I don't know what the timeline is in the comics, but that would be really, really interesting.
Well, it's about the same timeline because if you think about it,
it's the same timeline. It takes place in the same universe.
no, but it is
sure
on the same timeline from the beginning of the show because the beginning of the show was
Well, no, it's only the show and the comic are two different universes.
okay. All right.
There are those like differences between them.
Well, was Glenn in the comic?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I know like the timeline of the comic and the show are all kind of slightly different. You know, same events, different order, and slightly different way with different characters and all that.
All right. Well, moving so much for like a 10-second spoiler. It wasn't actually a whole lot of spoilers. We did not spoil that much.
It's still a great game.
It's a great game, and we did not. There's actually very little spoilers. There's just, as you know,
like,
decisions.
It's the first episode.
Right.
And it feels like it sets up a lot more.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
There's a lot of setup.
Next game I played was The Wolf Among Us. I do have it on the 360, so I did encounter the issue with the season pass. That it was not recognizing my season pass and was going to charge me another $2. So I just sat it out, wrote a because it's what you do. You write a nasty letter in the thread on the Telltales forums, which is what I did. And then
just to send a couple death threats.
That's what you do.
Yeah,
it wasn't nasty. It was just more like saying that Microsoft screwed up, and it's true. Microsoft screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Microsoft's fuck up, not Telltale's. And it will affect every subsequent purchase until I know that this is sorted out for sure. It will affect every subsequent purchase of a season pass for me from now on. In fact, where was it? What was the... Walking Dead. I did not buy the season pass for season 2.
Oh. Did you play it on 360?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I didn't buy the season pass
specifically
because of the Wolf Among Us problems.
I would have gotten Walking Dead PC, but there was supposed to be those hooks from the first season,
right?
Your choices.
Right.
So I'm stuck with the 360 version.
Yeah, and actually I could have not done the 360 version because for some reason I couldn't find my it's gone.
Really?
Yeah, my saves from the game. In fact, the whole game itself. And when I went back to it, in the store, it says, do you want to download again? So it knows I bought it, but the game itself is gone. So I could have switched over to PC, but if I switched to PC, I wouldn't be able to play it on the television with Kevin. So I stayed with the 360. If it had been available for the PlayStation 4, I would have done it. No question. That's what they needed to do, is put it on the PlayStation 4. But
I think it'll come out later.
Yeah, I think it will. But I had to wait a couple extra days, and eventually Telltale did what Microsoft couldn't do, is they went and gave out to everybody that had a season pass a code for episode 2 or episode 2. Sorry. So I actually got in my Xbox inbox a code that when I put it in, it gave me episode 2 of The Wolf Among Us for free.
Okay, cool.
Which is unbelievably labor intensive. Oh my God. If you think about it. But they were able to do it, send out all those codes. So I put the code in. Kevin had not played the first game with me, the first episode. So I replayed the first episode, making slightly different choices. So I have 2 saves on that game. And then played, that was the first night. And then the second night played episode 2. And it is... I've seen some people on Facebook complaining that Bigby is really passive in this episode. I don't think so. I think he's actually quite active. I think it depends very much on the decisions that you've made at the beginning and the decisions that you make this episode. But there's some huge shockers, huge huge shockers in this one. And it opens up a lot of stuff that make it very, very interesting. When something is a rule changer, that's what I call it, in a universe where, like, say you're going along and all of a sudden, say, for example, magic is introduced, that changes the rules.
Yeah.
Because now you have to work within these, now that you've you established that magic is available, you have to know how this magic can be used. And now that I see how this magic can be used, this game becomes much more complex. Way more complex.
Interesting, because what I really liked about the first episode is that there's a huge, complex world behind this Fables story, like a huge mythology behind it. And for the most part, the game doesn't delve into much of it.
No.
And I like that because it keeps it very focused on the story at hand, and it doesn't get bogged down with all this excess mythology. And it also kind of gives it room to go and expand as it goes on. It's not an info dump at the beginning.
Right.
And I like that.
It's the info is all available. I mean, if you hit the Book of Fables and you read about every character that you've seen, then you will get this. You can take the time to find out the mythology, or you can just barrel through and not worry about it. Knowing the mythology will help considerably in making your decisions. Knowing who Bluebeard is and why he's there, getting that is really important. Understanding who Ichabod Crane, who he is, why he's there, what led to him being where he is. But anyway, there is a big game changer that goes on, and as messed up as decapitations can be, it gets much, much more messed up in episode 2.
Really? Oh, yeah. I'm gonna do a pop mouse on that this Sunday, so I have to play it.
It's
this week.
Yeah.
So
you think decapitation murders are the worst that you will be encountered with, and it's not. It's especially the very, 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 very last of the episode.
Oh.
Fucking. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Just. Yeah. This is not a fairy tale.
Good to know that it keeps it up.
Keeps it up, and it keeps getting worse. As usual, gorgeous. But one of the things I do hate about it is that the standard settings for the music balance is way too loud. Way too loud. I hate that with all games. Get it optimal. You got sound guys, dude. Just make it optimal instead of putting everything at 10, because then you have this blaring music over this really soft dialogue. Just put everything at optimal, and if somebody wants the music louder, they'll make the music louder. Instead of missing a bunch of dialogue because you have to go into the options to put it down. Penalizing people who like good sound. Not even good sound, who like to hear dialogue. So, anyway, good both well worth the money. But I sure hope that they get that thing sorted, that season pass thing sorted, because it did keep me from buying the season pass for Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And if I'm not buying the season pass for Walking Dead, there becomes an issue. Maybe I just don't want to play The Walking Dead until it comes out in a pack and get it cheaply. Get it as a half price full pack.
Yeah. Like the whole thing, a bundle.
Right. Get it as a bundle. Which is
at least
only
then you know,
hurting
okay,
Telltale.
I'm downloading everything.
Right. And also because it's binge watching. Kevin does the same thing with watching seasons of Walking Dead. He'll wait half a season before he starts watching because he wants to watch it all and doesn't want to have to wait for week after week.
So has he watched all of season 3 now?
Yeah, no, he's watched, he's up to date now. But
it just came on last week. You know what? It was a good first episode.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't watch it.
Impressive.
Yeah.
It's a show that it certainly has up and downs, but it's been on an upswing lately.
Yeah. I really enjoy kind of listening in to when he does The Talking Dead. He watches The Talking Dead afterwards, the talk show.
Oh, yeah. I love that show. I think that's a really good show.
And they always have a poll, and the poll at the end was who has the best chance of surviving out on their own. And Michonne won by 90%. And it's like, it's not even close. Like, Rick got 3%. Michonne got 90%.
Yeah.
And another friend of mine put a Facebook post up saying, my new Walking Dead favorite character, 112 ounces of chocolate pudding. But yeah, it's both of them real good. So, you want to hit news?
Yeah.
All right. Let's hit the news. This is the Game Hounds News, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie and Nick D. Nicola and Holy Goalie. Oh, poor Holy Goalie. I feel bad for him. All right, so first item. Anybody? I should say anybody. You.
Yeah, so have you heard of a game called Flappy Bird?
At this point, who hasn't heard of a game called Flappy Birds?
I remember before all this happened, I was looking at apps, and I was looking at the free apps, and I'm like, oh, okay, Flappy Bird, look at this, whatever. Look at the second one, whatever, and I just kind of passed over it without thinking much of it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But apparently...
Wish you'd bought it. I wish you bought it. You'll hear why later.
I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
You'll hear why later.
But apparently it's this game, real simple, real difficult iPhone game that was at the top of the free charts. And the fact that it got to the top sent a lot of people into confusion. Because, how can a game like this with kind of no advertising that's just so simple
beat Angry
get to
Birds
the top of the free stuff?
Right.
And some people said that the guy bought reviews, to did something to game the system and get it up to the top. But whatever happened, it had a spike in popularity, which led to a whole bunch of articles about it on all these sites. Kotaku had this article where the author basically accused it of ripping off art from Mario.
Because it has the tubes. It had the little, the pipes.
It does, but it's also slightly different. Mm-hmm. So it's not technically ripped off.
No.
It's very much in the style of. But I love that the Kotaku article has an update where it said, we've changed the title because the original title was pure slander. It's like, oh, that's
nice.
That's pleasant.
Well, they said slander, not libel. So there you go. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Which is which?
I believe.
I think
slander is a person. No, slander is said. Libel is written, and libel is actionable, and slander is not. I think. I should know this. I have it right next to me, the AP style book and libel manual. But yeah, I think slander is spoken, libel is written, okay. And you can sue for libel, but you can't sue for slander. That's why they said slander.
Oh, clever motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. But so there's a huge rash of people and other articles saying you know what? The fact that Flappy Bird is number one proves no one knows what the audience for iOS is. No one knows what this audience is like. Anyone who sort of predicts the next big thing is bullshitting you because no one knows anything.
Right.
But apparently it also caused the creator, Doug N-Y-U? I don't know. Nguyen. To receive a lot of death threats because, that's how the internet works today. And
well, no, he didn't get a lot of death threats before, from what I heard. It was when he all of a sudden decided. I mean, he was clearing 50,000. He lives in Vietnam, or I should say, he is Vietnamese, but he was clearing $50,000 a day off of this game, and he pulled it, and that's when the death threats came.
Yeah, because apparently the popularity and the criticism and everything was just too much for him.
Right.
And he's like, and I think you're right that I don't know if he lives in Vietnam. It sounds like, if you read his tweets, it sounds like English is a second language.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
everything
he
is
lives
very
in
well
Vietnam because he had a meeting with Vietnam's Deputy Prime Minister Vu Duc Tam. So I'm assuming that yeah, he's in Vietnam.
Okay. And yeah, he wrote something like, I used to like it, but now it's made my life
Hell.
tough, so now I hate it.
Yeah.
And yeah, he took it down off the App Store, and now it's no longer available to download.
Yeah, according now
Already
Forbes
downloaded it though. You still have access.
right, and here's the thing: is that if you downloaded it immediately, iPhones started going up on eBay that have Flappy Bird on them, and they're being bid on at this point for $100,000 each. People are buying them for $100,000. Because if you think about it,
that's got to be a fake bet.
I don't know if it's fake or not, but they're certainly worth something. Games like this, 20, 30 years from now, these are the kinds of games that we look back on Nintendo games and they're selling for $100,000. Cartridges. What was the name of that cartridge that was the game that got pulled off of shelves and destroyed and nobody really bought it anyway, so there were only like 15 or 20 cartridges in the world. And
I have no idea.
yeah, there's these are the stories that later on become, and this is certainly well enough known that when the collectors might be very interested in investing in this, because somewhere down the line this may very well be a huge collector's item. This is something that's going to be remembered.
That would be interesting, yeah.
The in-app advertising was making him $50,000 a day. And Forbes had an interview with him that posted yesterday that says that Nguyen pulled it because it was too addictive. Flappy Bird was designed to play in a few minutes when you're relaxed, said Dong Nguyen, in an exclusive interview at his first since he pulled the plug on the app. But it happened to become an addictive product, and I think this has become a problem. To solve that problem, it's best to take down Flappy Bird. It's gone forever. Now, he's got 2 other games. He's just a developer. He puts up occasional games. He's got 2 other games that are still out there. They're not Flappy Birds. That are, where is it? It's called Super Jol. God, I'm having a hard time reading today. Super Ball Juggling and Shuriken Block, which is currently number 6 and number 18 on the iOS store. He says he doesn't plan to remove those games because he considers them harmless. Mm-hmm. But if he thought users were getting addicted to them, he would. He just doesn't want to create an addictive game.
And you know what I think that proves? That proves that the people making iOS games, there are all kinds.
Yeah.
It's not just businesses looking to milk you for as much as you can, like another game that's probably worth talking about.
What?
I'll say later. But yeah, like this is just a dude who made a game in his spare time because he likes to make games, and when it got insane, he's like, "Oh, let's stop."
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I can't. I'm not ready to handle this. Oh, and by the way, people are getting really addicted to it and getting. I'm sure he was getting a lot more feedback than he expected. All of a sudden, just this wave of feedback.
Mm-hmm. Especially for a game that he admits, he made in his spare time.
Right. So anyway, yeah,
it's interesting to see the proof that these app makers. There's all kinds of them.
Yep. Well, kind of drawing from the talking about addictive games, and sorry, I have a really bad frog in my throat today. But talking about addictive games, and then also talking about Walking Dead and other AMC and big dramas, will segue nicely into my first story, which is that Sons of Anarchy, the creator of it, Kurt Sutter, said, I think it was last October, that he kind of hinted that a video game version of Sons of Anarchy is being worked on. Well, yesterday, or I guess it might have been today, that he has assured fans that there is a Sons of Anarchy game in the works. It is going to be a first person action adventure that quote unquote represents the evolution of gaming. And he says it's pretty fucking awesome, quote unquote. He twittered it out. He said, "I'm hard just typing this." Which is awesome. So yeah, this looks like a Sons of Anarchy game. I don't know. There's part of me that says I love the idea, and especially when you say next gen design, because I see so much more potential with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. But generally speaking, I've not been too crazy about television show or movie based games.
There was a game called Ride to Hell Retribution. That was a
say that
biker
again?
game. A Ride to Hell Retribution.
Uh-huh.
It was another biker gang game
Mm-hmm.
that was particularly awful.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, like it's pretty hilarious watching the Giant Bomb Quick Look because it's just so bad. And it's like, oh, this is an awful game. So there aren't many biker gang games out there. So at the very least, if it's better than Ride to Hell Retribution, it's a step up.
I don't know. I want it to be more than a step up from a bad game.
I think everyone would.
That's a pretty low bar. It's like, well, at least it was better than that other biker gang game that we
better
had.
than shit.
Better than
That's
shit.
what every
right.
developer
It
strives for.
Didn't make your eyes bleed.
Yes.
You got anything else?
Yeah, speaking of shit.
Yes.
There's a game that came on the iOS recently, the updated version of Dungeon Keeper.
Mm-hmm.
And I only know slightly about Dungeon Keeper. I watched a friend play it back in high school, and that's my only experience with it. But it's essentially a strategy game where you make a dungeon to kill heroes, you know? Kind of like a SimCity, but dungeons or something like that.
Right.
So this is an iOS version of that. And apparently it is ravaged with microtransactions. But not just microtransactions, but things that Jim Sterling coined like pay to wait. So, you know, you have to dig out, you know, you're in a cave and you have to dig out sections of the cave in order to build rooms. And I guess in order to dig out a section of the room, you have to spend, I don't know, let's just say crystals. So digging out like two tiles of a cave will use up all of your crystals for the day. You have to wait another day. But, you know, the room you have to build is four, you know, tiles big. So
Okay.
already, like right at the beginning, you have to wait at least 2 days before you can build your first room. And it just gets worse from there, where it's like the time it takes, the time punishment for playing is so extreme that people are really up in arms about the game. Because, of course, if you want to buy extra crystals to build more, you can totally do that. But it's just a bad example of that kind of game, where it's just that philosophy pushed to the extreme, where the punishment for not putting money in is so extreme that it's like, oh, this is not worth playing. And apparently people are really, really angry about it. And really angry with EA about it. Because EA has been on a real microtransaction binge lately.
Yeah. Well, they need they want to do this. It makes a lot of money.
Yeah, it does.
But they really, really want to do this. But they have to find a line, and that's the thing that in EA's. I don't blame them from doing it. It's good business. I don't know if I like it personally, but it is good business. When you're doing microtransactions or doing something new like this, you kind of have to push the boundary to see where the line is, where people will accept it and then pull it back just a bit.
I think the argument that oh, the business, it's the job to make money is kind of bullshit. Mm-hmm. You can still make money, abuse or not abuse, the people you're making money from. Even if you want to push the line, yeah, sounds bad. Because apparently they put out Plants vs. Zombies 2 a couple months ago, and that was also kind of ravaged in that same way. It was like, oh, you can play without putting money into it a lot, but then all of a sudden you hit this wall of like, the time investment required to go on without paying is too extreme, and you're kind of forced by the design of the game to put money into it.
God, yeah, that's true.
Which apparently that deal with Candy Crush Saga, I've heard that like one of the reasons it makes so much money that it's been so popular is that like the first quote unquote world is pretty easy and you can get through it without having to put money in. But then when you get to the second, there's this difficulty spike where you kind of can't progress unless you put money into buying microtransactions and buying little items that make it easier to progress. And it's like they purposely make it easy in the beginning to hook you, and then that spike was like, okay, now give us money.
Right.
And I think it's that spike specifically that pisses people off.
Yeah.
Kind of ramped up in that way, it might be better, but yeah, that spike of like all of a sudden now I can't play.
You've hit a wall.
I put money. Yeah. No one likes hitting a wall.
Right. And I hate to say that's make it to sound like this, but we're kind of like lobsters. You can't just drop us in boiling water. You've got to slowly raise the water temperature so we don't even notice we're cooking.
Yeah.
And that's what they're kind of doing.
We want to be fooled and tricked.
Right.
Like, we'll give you lots of money, but you actually got to trick us into doing it. Because the illusion, all games are an illusion. All games are, the developer controls everything behind the scenes, and we're kind of mixing our way through it.
It's like a hooker walking up saying, give me $50. It's like, no, you got to make me want to give you $50. Right. You got to make it so that I will give you $100 happily instead of robbing me for $50. Good news. Namco Bandai has been rebranded. It is now Bandai Namco.
That. Yeah. What was that again?
It is now Bandai Namco instead of Namco Bandai.
Shocking.
I know.
That's true. I'm sure that's going to confuse a lot of their audience.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter.
I mean, they're just not the same. Bandai Namco, how is that? I'm confused. I don't know what they do anymore. Are they still a game company?
Yeah, they are. Oh, you mean if they change their name? Yeah, they're not making games. They're unmaking games. They're actually what they're doing is they're going into houses and stealing all your games.
They're trying to erase Namco Bandai from the history book.
Right, exactly. They're the evil doppelganger. They're reversing everything that Namco Bandai did as Bandai Namco.
Oh my god. You're right. They're essentially Namco Bandai with a little handlebar mustache.
And a monocle?
Yeah.
GameSpot reports. Actually, I saw this more, and I saw this not just in GameSpot. I saw it everywhere, and it kind of went under the radar a little bit. Mainstream business news noticed it, but not a lot of gaming news noticed it. Is that this week, online retailer Amazon bought Double Helix Game, which is the studio behind Xbox One's Killer Instinct, the launch title, and the upcoming downloadable Strider reboot. And it was just kind of mentioned in the business pages that I always check business news while I'm lying in bed before I jump out of bed in the morning. And it was like, they did what? What is Amazon doing with a game developer now. There's something afoot in the Amazon world, and I would imagine it's probably the Amazon Prime world. There's also reports that Amazon's going to raise the price of Prime, by 50%, which means I'm out of there. I love Amazon Prime. I drop probably anywhere between $100 and $300 a week, depending on Amazon. But that's where I do so much of my shopping for stuff that I like specifically, but I would have to go out of my way to get. Like Kevin likes every morning and every evening a glass of Oregon chai, slightly sweet. Not their regular chai and not their sugar-free chai. Their slightly sweet chai. Now there is a place way away from us that sells it, a supermarket. No other supermarkets around us immediately sell us. Nothing on my way. But they sell that over at Molly Stone's in Corte Madera. But I'd have to drive all the way to Corte Madera to go pick it up just for chai. Not really worth it. Go across a bridge. It's like 25 miles, 30, 40 miles. Well, 25 miles. So rather than do that, Kevin orders that from Amazon and it comes to him in a 6-pack and it's delivered to our door. Same thing with his cereal. He's got this one cereal that he really, really likes, and he has the cereal delivered to our doorstep. Greenies for my dog. Dog food I have delivered. So all this stuff that would normally be just a pain in the ass, like, I fucking hate going out and going to get that. I'll just buy on Amazon. So they're raising the price of Prime, theoretically. And I'm imagining that the Amazon Prime, if they're going to raise the price, they're probably going to add something. And I think since they already have streaming video, they may do streaming games.
That would be interesting.
But it's the only thing that I can see where it fits in with the Amazon business model.
Yeah. I want to see what these streaming services are, because OnLive is the only one that's actually been a thing. And everyone else has been like, yeah, we'll do streaming, but they haven't actually come out yet.
Yeah. Now, there are rumors that Amazon's planning to launch an Android-powered games and entertainment device this year. And it's supposedly going to be cost less than $300 and allow users to stream and download games, music, movies, and TV content. I don't know. They already they've got the Kindle. They've got the Kindle Fire. They've got all those other stuff. I guess adding games to their Kindle would make sense.
Yeah.
But why would you get I don't know about how many iOS games that Double Helix has made, but why would you get a game that does console gaming? Why would you get a developer that does a lot of console gaming rather than getting iOS developers? I mean, iOS developers for games, freaking dime a dozen. Why would you get a big studio? Not big, but a fairly established studio that does console games to make iOS games?
Well, they're not iOS games. It'd be an Android-based console,
not iOS,
right?
Yeah, Android-based, sorry. Yeah.
So maybe they want to make a console game just using that Android stuff.
Maybe.
And maybe they're hoping that they can make a, Kindle console that, yeah.
I would be foolish of them. Kindle console.
I can see them. I mean, the Kindle started off as an e-reader, and then it became a tablet. Mm-hmm. Like a full-fledged tablet.
True.
And so I can see them wanting to go that extra step and make it a home version of it.
Yeah.
The home Kindle.
Kindle Home.
Yeah. I could actually see them naming it that.
They probably would.
Although they named it Kindle Fire, which is out of left field, so maybe not.
So don't get your home near your fire. Because then all kinds of bad things happen. Anything else? It doesn't have to be. No is a perfectly good answer, because we could probably find some more stuff over on Talk about it over on Happy Endings. Goalie says he's trying. I don't know if I mentioned to you that Goalie says he's going to try and join us on for Happy Endings for a little bit.
Okay, cool.
So, and it is that time.
Smaller kind of random news stories.
Yeah, random news stories is good for over on the other side.
Okay.
So we'll take that to Happy Endings. So, let's see. All right. So, and in fact, I'm even going to close out with Jonathan Colton's Curl just for you.
Although, I just saw a news story.
Yeah. Take it over there. Take it over there.
No.
Nope.
Okay, I'll say it there because more people should know about it.
Yes, we'll do it live.
I'll just tease Doom plushies.
Doom plushies. All right. So let's close this out.
Darkness, there's a man they call the Skipper, fast asleep, dreaming of gold.
You have been listening to Game Hounds, episode 250, recorded on Wednesday, February 12th, 2014. I've been Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick DiNicola. Holy Goalie will be hopefully joining us over at Happy Endings. He'll be back next week. So, ways to get a hold of us. First way to get a hold of us is through our website, gamehounds.net. You can also go to our Spreaker page. That would be Spreaker.com/the Gamehounds. No, Gamehounds. I think it's Gamehounds. But another great way to keep in touch with us is on our Facebook page, facebook.com/the Gamehounds. That is where Pissboy curates and all the news and posts it so you can stay up on what's happening in the news world, in the video game world, from just your Facebook page. That is facebook.com/the Gamehounds. Also, if you want to ever send us an email, gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. And then you've also got ways to get a hold of us with the that thing where you talkie into it. Nick, help me. Yes, your phone. Yes, the phone number. Voicemail. We have a voicemail and text line. That is 304-300-9889. Feel free to call it and leave a voicemail or text it. It goes to Goalie. In fact, if you want to say to Goalie, get well soon, that might be a good place to do it. Keep him up all night. Make sure all the Norwegians call in the middle of the night. Ha-ha! Keep him awake, because we're assholes that way. All right, so I guess we will talk to you next week. And also, don't forget, we always have Happy Endings over at Spreaker.com live, noon Pacific on Wednesdays. It's a live show. Join us over there. All right, Nick, we will talk to you later. Half an hour, right?
Yep.
Yay! All right, we'll talk to you then. Bye.
Skipper